Matthew, the 13th chapter. We're going to continue our series called The Sower and the Seed. Matthew, the 13th chapter. If I start reading this and you say, hey, that sounds familiar, I think you've preached on that before. It's because I read the same portion of Scripture last week. And I'm going to do it again next week because it's kind of a series that we're in. Matthew, the 13th chapter, we'll start at verse 3 this week, and it says, "And he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured it. Some fell on stony places where they didn't have much earth, and they immediately sprang up because they had no depth of the earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched because they had no root, and they withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. And others fell on good ground and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. He who has ears, let him hear." And then if you skip down to verse 20, it is Jesus' explanation of this parable. And it says in verse 20, "But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, yet has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. This to me is one of the most dangerous, most evident epidemics in the church world today. I have been in church a long time. I'm very churched. I have been a part of church for a long time. And I have seen countless upon countless upon countless of people who have come down here, given their life to Jesus. And at that moment on Sunday morning, nothing else could tear them away from what God wanted to do in their life. They were here on Sunday night and Wednesday night, and they'd be calling me, "Pastor, can I come help clean the church on Thursday? And Pastor, I just want to cut the grass for you." And they are sold out to the mission and the vision of the church and the mission and the vision of the kingdom of God. 3 months into their relationship with God, they kind of get discouraged and they stop showing up for a few weeks until a good brother or sister call and say, "Hey, we love you, I'm praying for you, I hope everything's okay, stay in there, hang in there, you can do it." And they go, yeah, you know what, I can do it, you're right, I can do it. They get back on the horse for a little while longer, and now 6 months later, you can't find those people anymore. Does anyone know anyone like that? Anybody ever been around the church world long enough to know anyone like that? Maybe for some of you, it's not the church people. Maybe for some of you, it's a missionary comes and shares his heart in our pulpit, tells you what he goes through on a daily and a weekly basis, and your heart is stirred as you listen to him talk, and as you see the pictures of what he encounters on a weekly basis, your heart is stirred. You pledge to this man, "I'm going to give you whatever, $100 a month to help your ministry in Thailand or Colombia or Peru or wherever it is." Your heart is stirred. The first month, that $100 is joy. Hallelujah! I get to help somebody in Thailand. Thank you, Jesus. The next month, it's, "I said I'd do this. I write this check for $100 because I said I'd do this," and you put it in the offering plate and you say, "God bless Thailand." The third month, you go, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I pledged this guy $100, and then I got to send my $100 right out to check $100. By the 6th month, you've forgotten all about your pledge to Thailand, and your seed that was sown on rocky ground had no roots, and so it sprung up and scorched. Anybody ever seen that happen? Have that ever happened to you? Whenever I was 8 years old, a missionary came to our church and I told my dad, I said, "Dad, what's this guy?" My dad said, "I'll tell you what, son. You wash my car once a week, and I'll pay you $10. He said, we'll take that $10 and we'll give it to the missionary. So $40 a month." I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." After 3 weeks, I didn't even make it through the first month. After 3 weeks, I was like, "Dad, you're just going to have to take care of that missionary for me. You can't do it anymore. It's car washing thing. That's tough business." We speak on tithing here. If I give a message on tithing, our tithing goes straight up. Everybody, God stirred your heart. Get really emotional about the message that was preached, and tithing goes through the roof. And all of a sudden, 3 months later, tithing's right back to where it was. People are stirred emotionally, but they have no roots. They have no grounding in themselves. It's such a dangerous epidemic that's taking place in the church world today. Because it looks bad on both places. There's people that come and give their life to Jesus and their friends are saying, this will never work. This will never last. I know you'll fall right back into the same situation that you were once in. And whenever they do, then the world looks at them and says, see, I told you your God wasn't capable or able to deliver you from your sin. This hurts the church world. And it not only hurts that person's believers, but it hurts the church world, because then everybody looks at us and says we're powerless. We have no way to give people the roots that they need so that they can change for a lifetime, so that they can bear fruit in the kingdom of God. See, the message of Jesus Christ is emotion. You talk about what Jesus did for you, and it gets you really emotional. He left his throne in glory to come down here to live as a peasant among us, and he will never leave us or forsake us, and he's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And we hear those things and we get real passionate and emotional about what Jesus says about our life. We hear the message of him dying on the cross, and we hear those things, and we break, and something is stirred inside of us, and we get really emotional over the death on the cross, and we get really emotional and we say, God, I can't believe you did all that for me. We hear the story of him going away and preparing a place for us, and that he's going to receive us again, and we get really stirred, and we say, God, I want to be a part of that. I want you to come get me. God, I want to be there. And we get really emotional and real stirred. We hear the stories of him in the end going to wipe away all tears from our eyes. Oh my goodness, God, I can't wait till that place of no pain, no tears. God, I can't wait. God, I want to be there. We get really emotional. We get real stirred up. We have seed sown in our life, and it's sown in certain places, and many times in our life it's sowed on this stony ground that we get really emotional and things spring up out of us, but then there's no roots dug down deep to make you last and stand the test of time. And then as Jesus says, when trials and tribulation come your way, whenever things get a little bit hard and a little bit rocky, you go, you know what, this Jesus thing ain't for me. Scorched. Done. That seed that was sown in your life, you just pick it up. It's not for me. We struggle in this society to have deep-rooted convictions in anything. Anything. What is your conviction? What are the things that you say, no matter what, this is what I'm going to stand by? No matter what, this is who I am, this is what God's called me to do, no matter what, this is what I'm going to do. What is it for you? Tell me. Think about it. What are the things in your life that you say, no matter what, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do? For some of you, it may be, we got people here that have been supporting the same missionary for 10 years. Never misses a month. I support that missionary because I have a deep-rooted, grounded in what I'm doing. There's some people in here, your tithe check never changes. Every week it's the same thing because you have a deep-rooted knowing who you are, knowing what God's promised you. There's some of you in here that say, you know what, I know what my marriage is supposed to be, and I have a deep-rooted conviction to know this. I'm not going to let seed be sown on this rocky, or for months at a time our marriage is great, and for months at a time things look wonderful, and then all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. What do you have deep-rooted conviction in? What do you look around and you say, no matter what my friends at work or my friends at church or my friends at school or my neighbors or my coworkers, no matter what they say, this is what I believe. I don't care what comes my way. I don't care what trials or tribulations come my way. And no matter what, this is what I believe. What do you have to stand on like that? Those are the things that are rooted deep. Those are the things that are sown on good soil, that produce fruit. The things that become emotional in our life, where we talk about them and we sow seed, and then all of a sudden they spring up and then they die. And they spring up and then they die. And then they spring up and then they die. And then they die. It's this seed. It's not a matter of the enemy coming in and stealing it from you. It's a matter of us deciding that we don't want to fight through the trial and the tribulation that's come our way and we give up. We live in a place that's very unusual. difficult. James 1 says this, starting in verse 9. Verse 10. The rich in his humiliation, because as a flower of the field, he will pass away. For no sooner has the sun risen with the burning heat, than the grass withers and the flowers fall and the beautiful appearance perishes. So the rich man will also fade away in his pursuits. But blessed is the man who endures temptation. For when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. Let no one say when he is tempted, I'm tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted, nor does he tempt anyone. For each of us is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. I know why God's doing this to me. I'm not doing nothing to you. You're drawn away by your own evil desires. I know why God put this pretty woman to be my secretary, and she flashes me out, flashes at me all the time. I know why God did that to me. God didn't do nothing to you. You were drawn away by your own evil desires. I know why God put me in a company that was so easy to cheat and steal money from. God didn't do nothing to you. You were drawn away by your own evil desires. God cannot tempt you. God cannot tempt you. But blessed is the man. Blessed is the man who endures temptation. For when he has endured it, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. The seed sown on rocky ground, it springs up really quickly. But all of a sudden it starts getting tempted and tried and tested. It has no roots, it has no grounding, so it withers away. And then we blame our temptation and our trials and our persecutions on God. And God's saying to us, listen, just endure. Endure. This life is but a vapor. Here today and gone tomorrow. This has nothing to do with my notes. This is for somebody. This life is but a vapor. Here today and gone tomorrow. This life is short. This life is nothing. Endure. Stand firm. Stop giving in to the temptations and the trials of the enemy. Stand firm. Allow the things in your life to take root. Stand firm. Stop giving in to the first heat of the sun. Colossians 2 says this. As you therefore have received Christ Jesus the Lord, so walk in Him. In Him. Rooted. Rooted. I always say that word rooted. Rooted. Let's try it one more time. Rooted. Let's try it one more time. Rooted. I'm still seeing people not say it. Ready? One more time. Rooted. Rooted. There has to be roots. There has to be something dug down deep into the good soil so it can give you the nourishment that you need. Walk in Christ. Rooted. Built up in Him. Established in the faith. That you have been taught and abounding in it with thanksgiving. Beware lest anyone cheat you through the philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ. For in Him dwells all the fullness of the Godhead. And you are complete. Where? In Him. In Him. In Him. In Him. Listen to me. You will never, ever. Well, Friday reference, nobody got it. It's okay. You will never be the husband that God has called you to be if you are not given to Him. If you are not a part of Him, you can never be the husband that God has intended you to be. You can never be the father that God has called you to be if you are not given to Him. Because in Him, you are complete. It's in Him that you have your ability to be a good father. It's in Him that you have your ability to be a good husband or wife. Because you have to know Him being love before you can then love someone else. It's in Him that you're complete. It's in Him that you get your roots. It's in Him that you produce fruit. You will never produce fruit apart verse 15. Beware of false prophets who come in sheep clothing. Inwardly, they're just wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, and every bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits, you will know them. How in the world is a church society going to produce fruit if we continually sow our seed on rocky ground where it spurts up really quickly but never takes any foundation, never takes any roots, and will never produce fruit? None of you work on a farm. We figured that out last week, so I'll make up anything I want to right here. If you plant on this side a banana tree and you plant on this side a corn stalk, weird word. If you plant on this side a banana tree, you plant on this side a corn stalk, and you give it a couple of weeks, you may come back and make man, which side did I plant that corn stalk on? Which side was the banana tree? And you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference because probably they haven't broken the ground yet. But give it time, allow the roots to take place and to dig down deep into the earth and get the nourishment that they need. And one day you'll be able to walk up and go, oh yeah, there goes the banana tree. Oh yeah, that's right, I planted the corn stalk on that side. And it's the same way in our life. People are looking at us. Baby Christians, I'm not talking to you because you get time to get your roots in you. Your job is to dig in and to get rooted. Your job is to get grounded in what you believe and find someone to disciple you and to help you in the nourishing process. But for us grown-up Christians, it is time for people to walk up to us and be able to judge the tree by the fruit it bears. You heard that old saying? That's where it comes from in Matthew 7, verse 19. Judge a tree by the fruit it bears. In other words, if you want a banana, go to a banana tree. This is real profound, okay guys? Hang in there with me. Banana from a banana tree? How about that? Really? Yeah. If you want Jesus, go to a disciple of Jesus. Because the fruit from our tree should be evidence of what's taking place in our rooting system. Okay? Don't understand now? Keep moving. Galatians 5, starting at verse 19, it says this. The works of the flesh are evident. We can just stop there and everybody can go, oh yeah, works of the flesh, we got them all. We figured them all out. The works of the flesh are evident. They are adultery, fornication. Listen to me, young folk. Fornication. I'll preach on that. Uncleanliness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contention, jealousness, outburst of wrath, selfish ambition, dissension, heresy, envy, murders, drunkenness. Isn't it ironic that he puts murders and drunkenness right beside each other? Woo! Preach on, preacher. Keep moving. And the like of which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in times past, that those who practice such will not inherit the kingdom of God. Because they're rooted up in the flesh. And this is the type of fruit that they will produce. Because that's all the nourishment that they're getting, that's all they know, that's all they can produce. I cannot expect my lost friends and family members to produce good fruit. They don't know Jesus. But for those of us that claim to know Him and claim to be a disciple of Him, it says this. The fruit of the Spirit, if you're rooted in the Spirit and grounded in God's Word and grounded in what He's saying to us, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. I recorded my daughter last night doing this song, and it says, fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. Fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. They learned it in children's church. Fruit of the Spirit's not a banana, because something. And I thought, how awesome is that? That my daughter is having soil that is producing good fruit, even at 6 years old, where she knows how she's supposed to act and react to certain situations in her life, because she knows what the fruit of the Spirit in her life looks like and what it should produce. You cannot expect your lost family member to produce love. They don't know the God that is love. You cannot expect your lost family member, you go, oh, it's okay. I just pray for peace in this situation. You can't give them peace because the Holy Spirit is the only one that gives peace that passes all understanding. We can't produce fruit like the world, nor can the world produce fruit like us. This is why it's so important, because the world will judge a tree by the fruit it bears. And whenever we get up off the altar and we go and we say we're a new creature in Christ, and we walk around and we say we're different, look at us, we're producing fruits such as love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, self-control. We're producing these fruits. The world will look at us and judge a tree by the fruit it bears, and they'll say, I want to see your love. I want to see your long suffering towards me, even when I'm angry and bitter and mean towards you. I want to see your self-control whenever I invite you out with the buddies. I want to see your gentleness in this situation whenever it's valid for you not to be gentle. And in those moments, a world that is lost and dying are looking for people that will show them good fruit. And the only way to show good fruit is if we have roots that are in good soil. Amen. Amen. The hardest part about Christianity is getting over the initial thought process that God makes everything great. He does for your eternity. God is going to pay all my bills this week. God's going to fix my husband. God's going to fix my crazy kids. I've met your kids. There's no fixing them. God's going to fix everything. Everything is great. And I say this, that God is a miracle worker. God still does miracles. But guess what He's looking for people to do? Get rooted in Him and produce fruit. He's looking for people that will allow themselves the time to get roots, to walk in Him, to be led by Him, to get their roots deep down, and then through the nourishment they get from their roots, produce the fruit of the Spirit. Why is church so important? Because it helps to give you roots. Why is discipleship so important? Because it helps to give you roots. Why is connect group so important, or discipleship group so important? Because it helps to give you roots. Why is accountability and friendship so important in the church? Because it helps to give you roots and the nourishment you need so that you can produce the fruit that God has called you to produce. Amen? Amen. I know there are people here today that in your life you can think of numerous occasions where seed has been sown in your life. And maybe for you it was a missionary came and you pledged, and 3 weeks later you forgot all about it. Maybe for some of you it's in your marriages. Maybe for some of you it's in your relationship with God, where you swore to God, you said, God, I am going to be the most amazing servant you've ever had. God, I am going to be the greatest teacher you've ever had. God, I am going to be the greatest singer that you've ever heard. God, I'm going to do everything I can for your glory. God, I'm going to be amazing for you. And all of a sudden something happened in your life and you got a little burnout. You got a little frustrated. Trials, temptations came your way. And you got burned. And instead of allowing God to revive that seed in your life, you allowed that seed to burn up and die. the story of the church world today? If it's not your story, it's the story of the person sitting next to you. If it's not the story of the person sitting next to you, I promise you, it's the story of the person sitting next to you.